Nation, what's up? Happy Thursday. Glad to be with you guys tonight. I have nothing pithy to say, but it's going to be a good show. Brian and I have been on here for the last 15 minutes, and we have no shortage of things to talk about tonight. We're just ranting and raving like lunatics. Brian, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Nice. Got a really deep tonality tonight, so it sounds good. Sounds sexy. I'm a little bit worried that I'm getting a cold.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like my right nostril. Well, I just flipped everybody off. My right nostril is a little congested. Could be allergies, but I also had like this kind of tickle in the back of my throat. I got vaxxed, so I'm not super worried about COVID, but I did go to a concert the other night where everybody was quasi-masked. They all had masks on them, but it was a rock concert. It's probably not going to. I don't think people were that careful with their masks, but everybody had to either be A, vaccinated, or B, negative COVID test. So I felt pretty decent going. That said, I'm either just feeling very weird in my olfactory region, or I'm coming down with something. We'll see. TBD. But so far, my taste, I still have the ability to taste. So I'm jacked to do this, pop this, although we'll get there, Brian. Wait for it. We're going to get into this. A lot to talk about here, a lot of takes, which Brian and I will recap because we were kind of yelling at each other back and forth a minute ago. And then we've got a blind from our boy, Tom Lynch, the wrench, the man.
Shout out to Tom.
But he is... he's not on here yet, so I don't know if we have any wrench yet. Haven't seen Eric, haven't seen Liberty.
You got me on here.
Oh yeah,
but it looks like the chat was lit, and then I jumped in, and then like no one's talking. It's just you. So I jumped in. It's just you and me.
Maybe it broke. Say hi, everybody. What are you guys drinking tonight? We'll let those answers pour in. Let us know what you're drinking. Brian, why don't you tell them? Why don't you give them the spiel? Why don't you tell them where our show comes from?
Absolutely, everybody. If you did not know, our show is sponsored by High Noon Sunsets, made with real vodka, real juice, sparkling water, only 100 calories, no sugar added, gluten-free. Try all of the sun-soaked flavors, now available in the variety packs. Today, I am sipping on mango. This is a sunny, bright, and snappy mango, sparkling on the tongue like sunlight on the sea.
Nice.
And I left mine in the freezer for a little bit, so it's nice and a little bit
crispy,
chunky.
Oh, nice. I love that when it gets a little freezer slushy.
That's right.
A High Noon sounds fantastic, but I knew I got to do this Blackened review, which I'm going to pour myself a decent amount of. And then we've got to do a blind. And here's the thing when we do blinds is I ingest a decent amount of alcohol because I like sip it 1,000 times. Try and pick it apart. So I am not going to crush a High Noon, but I'm deeply thankful for their fake sponsorship of this show. All right, now we're getting some answers in terms of what folks are drinking. William Wiley is drinking Blackened, but not the Willett Blackened Batch 2, which I'm going to be honest, I've never had any other Blackened product. I haven't really wanted one. But I have the Willett one because when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute. Peter Braddock was bashing this release earlier, but Peter, thanks for joining, man. We'll see how it turns out. But drinking the Friar Ranch Rye. Eric Sawyer passed on the Willett Blackened tonight. I hope it's not a banger. Well, I hope it is because I did not pass on it. I got it earlier today. I was like, yeah, that's great. That's on my list. I want that. Old Forester 1920. Jordan's drinking that. Porkins in the hoose. Whether to drink rum or whiskey tonight. Which rum are we talking about? Let me know. But I'm almost always whiskey. I did have some scotch last night. I had one of my Scotch Malt Whiskey Society releases. Man, those are good. Pretty good. William Wiley, don't you love a whiskey channel being fake sponsored by fake vodka drinks? Hey, man, we do what we do. John Petzel is drinking FAE01. Love that one. FAE02 just dropped. So I want to score that. I want to taste that next to FAE01. Kyle's having the Starlight Barrel Proof Rye. Is that just barrel proof, Ryan, not the double barrel, my boy? Yes, Tom is in the house. I'm way behind on the comments now. You guys are just tearing it up, so I can't even keep up with it. D. Brown is drinking scotch, the Loch Lomond 12. Fred's got rare breed. Can't go wrong with rare breed, Fred. Nicely done. Kurt looks like he's drinking some craft whiskey. I don't know what C&B means, but down home toasted barrel rye. Never heard of that. Tom, Russell's Reserve 13
stuff.
Right? Did you get a Russell's Reserve 13, Tom, or do you have a sample?
He just said he got it to go pour at dinner last night.
Oh, sick. That's pretty rad. Awesome. Well, that's going to make for a good evening. Andrew Beck says 4 square, 28, 29, shibboleth. Great word. We talked about that before. Single barrel pick of 2018 for 4 square. Oh, 4 square is great, so you can't go wrong with that. I got my dehumidifier is on in the basement, so if my audio is a little hummy, that's why I'm going to go turn that off, and then we're going to get into our bits. So actually, I'll kick it off. First, Brian, what are you drinking? What are you warming up with?
So to let everybody know, I had a surprise barrel pick to close out my day today that took me into like dinner time. So I was feeling really toasty leading into that. So I'm a little concerned I'm going to have too much to drink. But tonight I am drinking Pursuit United.
Nice. Batch 2.
I actually don't know if it's batch 1 or batch 2. There's no markings on it, and I don't particularly know. I'd have to ask Kenny. But that's what I'm sipping on, and I'm trying not to. I already have had too much alcohol today, so I've come down, and I'm trying not to go back up again. Tom Riley saying, did either one of you score Four Roses limited edition? No. I did not. No. It's a big no. It's really I'm really disappointed. If you know, obviously, no stranger to the show. I love the Four Roses, and it's what I look forward to the most every year. So a bit of a bummer. Bit of a bummer.
You can always hope to get it in the wild. It's just a harder hope.
Last year I didn't see a single one, so I'm thinking the same thing will be. Thinking the same thing will be.
Yeah, it's possible. All right, I warmed up with Willett small batch 4-year, 108.8. This is probably the low rye. Really good, like that release. And I wanted to get in that ballpark before I pop this guy. Which, speaking of this guy, this is what I bought this week. This one, that's it. Last week we talked about batch 5 of Remus, which I'm trying to score some more of because it's really nice. The flavor is really nice. The finish is dry. That's what I said last week in the review. I've gone back to it 2 more times, and that is correct. Delicious whiskey, kind of a dry oaky finish, which isn't my favorite. I want like a sweet oak. I want buttercream on the finish. No buttercream, dry oak, but it's fine. It's good. Everything up until the finish is quite lovely. And who knows? Maybe it'll mellow out as I get further down that bottle. What did you buy, Brian? You just don't have it on you. Why don't you explain to the good kind folks what happened?
No, I have. You mean you go in the whole spiel that I gave you?
Well, I mean, you're here to hear about this product, so you might as well give them your background, and then I will pop it and give my opinion.
Yeah. So I this weekend when we went out looking for it, I had a buddy who said he had 2 friends who wanted some. He had his son with him, and so we went to a store we thought would have some at open, and they did. And then as we're leaving, he was talking about how he was really hoping he'd get one to drink, but he wasn't able to go back through and get another one, yada yada. And I said, hey man, why don't you just take this then? I'm not one way or another on it. If you want it, just I'd like to try it. So I left it with him. He lives over in Indiana, and then later that day, he said he got to try it with another friend of ours, and he said he didn't like it, and that I could have it back. And we just haven't been able to connect since then. We were supposed to connect earlier today. We were supposed to connect yesterday. Didn't happen. I almost drove over there this evening, but it was just cutting it really close for us to connect. He wanted me to try it and do a review of it on my channel of doing a review, but all that he was saying was like, dude, I mean, it's not like it's bad or anything, but like it's just not good. And I'm like, okay, well, I also don't want to willingly, Tom, we're talking about the Willett, Blackened. I was like, well, if it's not good, I also don't want to willingly go ahead and queue up a first impressions review video of it. So it would have been really nice to have had it for tonight. But as I started driving over there to pick it up tonight, I had traffic on the highway and I knew that I would be late to the show if I did. And I would rather not be late to see you all than to be late and have it to taste together.
Right. So here we go.
We also, Remus was, said, haven't seen Remus Repeal at 5. It was at Total Wine in town, but I have not been able to go over to Total Wine to see if it's still there. So we might have some at our Total Wine in town. I can try and check tomorrow. I just don't know if it.
And I, batch 4 was released in phases, so I expect batch 5 will be the same. I don't expect what hit initially will be the only amount that hit. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't panic. I'm sure it's around or will be around again. If you didn't ever have a shot at batch 4, you might be screwed. But like our area was flush. There's still batch 4 everywhere. But batch 5 is now gone. There just wasn't much in that first little spurt, for lack of a better term. Okay, all right, I'm gonna pop this thing. So your friend didn't like it, I'm gonna talk about it as we go here. First, look at this. Look at that. Look how lovely that bottle is. It's the reverse of the normal Blackened, which has just the sound waves here, but now it's the cutout. So it's kind of new riff vibes. But it's an average of 6.5 years old. So the oldest whiskey in here is 8. They said the average whiskey in here is 6.5 years old. Willett rye, finished in Madeira casks. And it's cast strength, which the cast strength sticker is kind of nice. It's like felty.
Yeah, it's soft.
Velvet. That's what it is. Velvety. 109.6 proof. So, I mean, everything on the bottle makes me want to pay what I paid for it. I paid MSRP. MSRP is high. But to me, here's how I viewed it. And I'm open to hearing what other people think of this. Both William and Peter were like, nah. Eric passed on it. But I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to get a Willett Family Estate 6-year rye of any kind for anywhere less than multiple hundreds of dollars. That's what this is. Finished Willett Family Estate 6-year rye. So is it a value in terms of a 6-year Kentucky rye? No. Is it a value in terms of a Willett 6-year rye? Yeah. Is it good? I don't know. We're about to find out. I mean, the proof will be in the
So real quick, I will say, just to be devil's advocate,
we got to get the audio on the pop. Hold on. Oh my gosh. You really had to yank up. Yeah. Loud. All right, go ahead.
My curiosity with you is the difference about it being, well, I mean, still would be Family Estate, I guess. If, what would you pay for right now? Family Estate's $55 for 4-year small batch. So if they had a 6-year small batch, what would you pay comfortably for a 6-year small batch the exact same way that 4-year is presently a small batch? Because it's not a single barrel. It is small batch.
Yeah, as the other ryes are.
Except for the single barrels.
I mean, probably $100.
Okay.
Which this is more than that But here we go. Do I expect this is going to be like $140 good? Like Discovery Batch 4? No. I don't expect it's going to be that good. I
think the hardest part about it is that it's Willett, right? Because I think it's already been established. Willett's premium, right? Regardless of whether you like the flavor or not, Willett has established themselves as a premium brand. The same way that like Blue Run is attempting to establish themselves as a premium brand, or Kentucky Owl has established themselves as a premium brand. They're the premiumist of premium brands.
So the nose out of the bottle, really interesting, very fruity. Man, I got one good nostril. Yeah, I get some kind of Kool-Aid vibes, raspberries and mint. Sweet, pretty sweet. Kind of honey up in there. Not alcohol forward at all, really. Not sharp on the nose. Just more sweet herbaceous berries and spice. I'll try and pull some spice out of here.
If I put a glass to my nose, people just now tuning in will think that we're both tasting it.
True.
So I'm just gonna let you talk, but I'm gonna do this. Ooh,
maybe a touch of clove, which I know you're not.
Touch of the Oh my gosh, it's definitely some of that.
Strawberry licorice.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Twizzlers.
Whew, yeah.
The nose is nice. It's fruity. It smells like
It's inviting. It's inviting, right?
A very fruity rye, which would make sense given the Madeira influence.
Yeah. Oh, going for a taste. Cheers, everybody.
I really can't. Let me focus, okay? I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it a great deal. Let me try and describe why. And here's the thing. I'm more than willing to give a harsh critique. Okay? I don't feel like I need to defend my purchase. I'm a professional who doesn't do this professionally. All right. Let's go. Okay, the wine influence is there, Madeira. Not in the same heavy presence that a Prisoner or a Pfeiffer Pavitt is. That said, it adds a really nice layer of these red fruity notes, a la raspberries. It's not really strawberry Twizzlers so much as fruit roll-ups in terms of candy kind of sweetness. If you don't like mint, it's probably not going to be for you, but I'm a big mint guy in a rye, so I do not mind some minty notes up in there. And the sweetness really helps bring balance to the force. So that's one sip, and I'm going to go back to it. Then I'm going to go to the bathroom because I've been just chugging water already. So we're not even 20 minutes in, and then I'm like, you know what? I could stand to relieve myself. I don't get much oak. It doesn't taste young by any stretch of the imagination. I don't get youth. Don't get raw grains. Don't get underage spirit. That's I don't get the depth. I don't get molasses. I don't get brown sugar. I don't get toasty oak.
It snuck up on me.
Just if you have joined us, I'll be super clear. Brian is not drinking what I'm drinking, which is the Blackened right now. That's what I'm reviewing. I dare say it's going to be hard for anybody to be like, oh, it's definitely worth $140. That said, it may be. Do you know how many bottles of this were released, Brian?
No. Based on how many are still on the shelves here, it seems like a lot.
Really? It's not hard to find there?
Yeah, it's just sitting on the shelves, man.
Well, it just showed up here today, and we'll see what happens. But now I feel like a sucker, but regardless, it's good whiskey. Let me hit this one more.
I could be wrong. I haven't been to stores in 2 days, so maybe it's gone now, but I got the impression that it was still just chilling in the cases at some of these stores. So
it's really oily. The mouthfeel is good. Does finish with a little white pepper after that mint. You know, and be an interesting
Would you
one.
would you pick would you pick this versus Stag Junior, which you also said you would buy at $150?
No. Well, shoot. No, that's tough. So time will tell on that. It's too early. Too early to tell. Because yeah, I don't know. That's just a good question, but I'm not ready to react to it. If you're asking me which one I like better, Stag Junior. I like Stag Junior better. But that's one of my favorites. So you're like,
Tom Lynch asking me 2 days, did my wife tie me up in the basement? No, I just don't drive out of my way to go to Total Wine like an alcoholic every day. I just don't.
It's juicy. It's a juicy.
So is juice.
Rye.
So, like, put it into perspective. I could buy juice for $2.
I said as berries, raspberries, and mint. So it's like a raspberry mint whiskey.
So it's like a raspberry mojito.
Yeah, very similar. Like I'm thinking cocktail vibes. Like you pour this over ice in the summer.
Which a lot of people were saying that it tastes like a Manhattan.
It's a banging summer rye. I'll tell you that straight up. And do I like it? I like it a lot. Is it worth 140? I want more age on it, of course, but for a 6-year rye, guys, I can't hate on this. I really like it. It's really enjoyable. Of course, the spend is pretty hefty. What I've got.
Can you do a little side by side for the viewers with your rye that you opened with, just the straight rye, and talk about the differences?
Definitely, that's a great idea. Okay, same kind of glass. So this is again this. It seems like this 108.8 proof 4-year batch is the low rye, whereas this other one. Do we know what the Blackened is? Is it low rye or high rye, or do we know?
I think a small batch is going to be a blend too. I don't think you're going to get just pure low rye in those.
Yeah.
You're not giving us a lot to hate you, Abandoned Bourbon. We still kind of do though, dog. Cool. Thanks, Rod. You're pretty great too, man.
That's weird. I'm not super clear what you're saying, Rod.
To be completely honest, I'm usually not clear on what Rod says, but that's fine.
He's always seemed like a great guy to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Something about hate.
Apparently he has some uncovered hatred for me though. Yeah. It's coming out tonight.
All right. So let's divide this up. Okay. A little brown sugar in the 4-year, actually. Good mouthfeel on that. This one finish goes away pretty quickly. Not as much mint, more of a cinnamon and clove kind of vibe. This is probably the best batch of the 4-year rye that I've had. Very sweet. Not as much fruit, though. A little caramely and spicy. Less green and less berry. Coming back to the Blackened Willett. This one is even sweeter and is more candy forward, way less spicy. And yeah, I think that raspberry mojito, but deeper and sweeter than a mojito, not that light. I mean, it's definitely deeper than like the limousine ryes, which, as you know, were very citrusy. This one has probably some lime, given the mojito vibes, but not the abundance of lime that is up in those limousine products. So on the Drew scale, which, as you know, is constantly evolving, it's a B. It's really nice. It would be probably an A- if the price were more reasonable. That said, time will tell to see just how rare this thing is, how much is released. If you are a big fan of Metallica and or Willett, and you got some disposable income, yeah, probably buy it. I think you'll enjoy it regardless, unless, again, if you hate mint, don't buy it. If you like berry notes in a in your rye and you're okay with mint, then try it at least. And if you did buy it, I don't think you'll be sorry. I'm not sorry. It is what I thought it was.
Shade subjects like real quick.
The Denny Green vibes. They are who we thought they were. That's kind of what it is. All right.
I don't know, man. It's just tough to hear that $150 is a beat. That's tough, dude.
Well, it's not 150, so I don't know what you're paying.
How much was it there?
Very close.
How much was it there?
I do not recall.
It was $159.99 on our shelves before tax.
Ooh, jeez.
At the cheapest stores.
Yeah, let me just check my bank note here. It was definitely less than that.
So here it would be like $180 almost after tax.
Yeah, that is redonk. Let me just see. I'm going to look up in my bank account right now, and I'm going to see exactly what came out of my account.
Andrew Beck, they're not new Ambrana casks. They are used Chasha or whatever, however you say it.
We're talking
and they smell dank. Smell super dank.
Starlight, right?
Yeah, he was talking about the cigar batches. They're not new. They are used. They get a lot of X barrels. They get a lot. I mean, they get some fresh French oak barrels too, but they get a lot of used barrels too. Yeah, that's what they are. They have next week. They're doing the Ambrana, the cigar batch rye release 1 week from tonight. So I might not be. Well, no, I could probably make the event and still make it for live. But they're doing that event next week, and I heard they're on a podcast last night too, saying that they'd have another bourbon batch that same night too. So they're supposed to have a rye and a bourbon release next Thursday night at Starlight. And then, of course, Blake's is supposed to be going out, I think, tomorrow. If you've signed up for the newsletter, I bet they'll go very fast. But they'll pop up. They're just fun. They're just funky. Yeah, I mean that's
yeah, 140. That's what it's like after tax 147 something. So it's hefty. It's hefty.
Man, I'm all day at 100. I mean, I'd probably
well,
I probably wouldn't blink at 100.
I considered being a douchebag and buying multiple, going against my own rule, but I did not, because I figured like this is gonna be rare up here. But that said, if you guys were on the stream last week, you know that I'm completely out on the secondary, and I was like, you know what? Let's start with one. If I really like it, I'll try and hunt another one or come back tomorrow. It was at Autos, East Side. That's where I picked it up. They may still have some of it there. And I enjoy it, and I will enjoy the snot out of this bottle, I think I'll really enjoy it, but I think I'm good with one at 140. So again, don't regret it. Probably wouldn't buy another one, but I definitely would at 100 for sure. All right. Eric says he feels like the Blackened dressed down the Willett. I think so too, in terms of people's public perception, but in terms of bottle, this is sick. This is just sick looking. So I'm all in on this bottle style, even though the brand perception is certainly dressed down from like a Willett family estate release. Just imagine if they bottled that in the Willett exploratory cask finish family estate thing. Yeah, we'd all pay $140. We wouldn't think twice.
Which, well, I mean, yeah, I hear you say that, but also when they did the XCF the first time, I'm pretty sure that was like $40.
Well, yeah, but the whole world was.
I could be wrong.
That was a long time ago, and you're probably wrong, but like everything, it's not the same world. Like that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and in its benefit too. I mean, this is not a Willett product, so you know, if Blackened had to buy that from Willett, it's going to have to be expensive because the wholesale price for Willett products is higher than it used to be.
Sure.
You know, that's just over the last 2 years, I think we just know that. And that's why even when retailers have single barrel Willets, which they barely ever do, but when they do, they're pretty pricey now, almost to the point of where previous secondary prices used to be, just because they've raised their wholesale. But they also know that people are going to pay it. Willett doesn't sit on the shelf anywhere, except for their shelf of products.
Their Bardstown, whatever, Kentucky bourbon distillers. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very good. I enjoy it a great deal. So That's that. On we go. So, do you have anything fun to talk about, Brian? Because I'm going to go to the bathroom. You guys know how it is. It's a great time to take a break.
I am. I mean, I could just sit here and chug the rest of my high noon, but
that's
I had a quick
junkies of you.
I had a quick clarifying question on our samples, but I can wait until you get back.
Yeah, I was going to ask Tom, what do we? So I have you can ask Tom what he wants us to do, but I have an idea for how to manage this if he doesn't have an idea for how to manage it.
Yeah, so I'll just ask. And that way we can interact with Tom a little bit here in the chat. So I think we got our blind samples, but we did not get questions for those specifically. What's up, Perry? Perry's in the chat. We did not get questions to those like we had previously, which is totally fine. I just wanted to see if Tom had specifically how he wanted us to approach these samples. Otherwise, whatever Drew has to say, he's going to say it as soon as he gets back. But we do have 4 blinds to taste through, as well as high noons to sip. If anybody's drinking seltzers, please let me know. What I want to know, Eric, how was that Bud Light pumpkin spice seltzer? That's what I'm curious about. I'm super curious about how that seltzer was. I saw that pack and had me intrigued. I sent no questions. I sent samples. I don't have a friggin' clue. Drink them in order. Sick. Because I think Drew's gonna say there's got to be a way for him to beat me, and so we're gonna have to come up with some sort of, which will probably do the same style stuff as before, but we will have to have you help us figure out those answers when we do the breakdowns of what our thoughts are. We got a cough too. Sorry, guys. I still want to see what else other people are drinking. Terrible. Tastes like a candle, but awesome. We have a fall blend that we are rolling out with next week, and we've been trying to figure out new fall blend names. And I'm gonna type it out here. We finally figured out our fall blend name, and I typed it below. I typed it in the chat. It's Omagord Fall Blend, and we have a new candle making place that came in the next building as us, and I told the leadership team today that we should go get some candles made up for the promo shots, maybe even sell some on the retail shelf. So we're waiting to see if that's going to happen.
We sell candles at Stone Creek.
Well, I was telling
candles and some like coffee shop candles.
I was telling Eric that we just we've been trying to land on a new fall blend name, and we landed on Omagord.
Like Ermagerd.
Omagord, yeah. And but we are right next to a candle, like a candle making place. And I told our marketing team they need to go and get them to make the most fall spice scent that they have there, but put some coffee in it, get it branded as Omagord, and we either need to be selling them or we need to at least have them in the marketing material about, because that's just what you do. It's when it's fall, you go to Bed Bath & Beyond, or you go to Yankee and you get your candle. So if you can get an Omagord candle, come on.
Because is there an actual gourd called Omagord? Because it sounds like oh my gourd,
it's supposed to be a playoff of oh my god, but it's oh my gourd. But we did it one word, Omagord. So it just looks less cheesy, more like Megatron-y. Maybe not. Maybe it sticks. Maybe it doesn't stick. Maybe we're overthinking it. I'm here for it either way.
Yeah, like I know that probably wouldn't pass at Stone Creek, but good luck. I'm curious.
Why wouldn't it pass there? I still feel like Stone Creek's the kind of place where you would have seen it more. You got Sirius Black, and you got all this other crap.
Yeah, we definitely play. But I think
so you wouldn't be able to play with the Omagord.
I think it's too like. What are you talking?
If there was season 4 of Stranger Things, we would have done the Demogorgon. but
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't.
I like that. All right. Not hating. I love it. I think it's great.
Tom said he sent no questions. He just sent samples. He doesn't know anything. Just drink them in order.
Okay, here's what we're going to do then. Because we got to gamify this. Because competition.
So he told you that's what he was going to say.
So whoever's closest, we're just going to guess the proof. And whoever's closest gets a point. So everybody gets a point always. We're going to go proof, age, what kind of product is it? Well, no, let's not do that. Well, yeah, no, because one of us will always get a point, whoever's closest on proof or age. And then guess what kind of product it is. So if it's a rye, like straight rye, finished rye, straight bourbon, finished bourbon, malt whiskey, etc. So product, distillery.
I need paper. I think this is paper. This is a pencil.
Distillery and bottle.
Okay, I'm not listening. Hold on. You said proof.
Whoever's closer on
age.
proof gets the point.
You said proof, age, type, distillery, and bottle.
Yes. So we each can get points on type, distillery, and bottle, but only one of us can get points on proof and age. Make sense?
Okay. Okay.
Right.
And it's 1 point straight across the board.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. And we got 4 samples. All right. I got pretzels too, so we're ready.
Oh man, you're cheating.
I think
you poured the samples out yet?
No. I think you have an advantage because I think I'm getting it cold. All right, we'll just start with 1. We'll just go one.
Yeah, but I'm drinking High Noon, so.
True. You're handicapping yourself. Although I must say, I started last week with the High Noon. Really enjoyed it.
Heightens the sentences, dude. Heightens the sentence.
Delightful way to start. Yeah.
All right, Tom. He is saying the categories are the first 2 are proof and age. It is whoever gets closest. Not so we'll only one of us will get points. Whoever is closest on proof will get the point. Whoever's closest on age will get the point. Then we both are able to get points from the type, whether it's finished rye, finished bourbon, rye, malt whiskey, whatever. Excuse me. Distillery, and then bottle. Eric, did you find Press Seltzer by you? I did not find Press. I looked. I saw Mom Water. I was a little bit disappointed in the name, even though it's kind of funny. And didn't buy it. So I'm sorry. Are you on 1 already? Do you have it poured out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk much about this. Hang with us, nation. We will talk about it after we
need to queue up. For the future. We need to queue up some music that can kind of play softly while we do this.
Yeah, I can look into that. It's a good. I don't know if I can functionally accomplish that in this piece of software. I could add a third account to the stream and just play my phone. Anyway, I got to focus on this. That's a hard one, Tom. Number 1 is difficult. I've got clarity though. I feel like I have tasting clarity on this. I'm almost done with it already, which is good because I don't want to get totally trashed tonight. So I can't really. I'm only going to pour half of these, vials. So at most, I'll drink 2 ounces plus whatever I drank of the Willets. So we'll keep it together.
The thing that's kind of stinks about this, when you think about all the questions, is you can totally train wreck yourself because you answer everything based on if you think you know what it is.
Sure. Yeah, you can't do that.
And that's what I'm doing, like specifically right now with this sample. And that is going to be potentially what skews me.
Interesting. So I have no idea. I will say with radical transparency, guys, this is going to be radical. I have no idea what this is.
Sorry, guys. Keep coughing.
And I'm second guessing myself a little bit, but I'm not. I'm going to go with my gut here. But actually, I'll be super honest. I have no idea what the distillery or the bottle is. And Tom, if we're left with like, oh, what is it? Like, you can tie break for us if we get a point or a half a point based on what our answer is. But I have no idea what the bottle is. No clue. I'm not even going to put anything in there because I don't have a guess. Let me know when you're ready.
I don't like where I'm at.
I don't either, but I wrote it down.
Okay, I wrote something down, but I know I'm wrong. Let's just go with it.
Hold on, now I'm second guessing myself.
Doesn't matter. You said you were done.
Yeah, I know. Blind tastings are so difficult. Just first, what are your general thoughts on this one, Brian? What do you think of this whiskey?
So it's not as hot as a lot of ryes that I've had recently. Like, it doesn't have the youthful kind of heat bite to it.
But you thought it was a rye.
Oh, I think it's a rye for sure.
Yeah, I did too.
It's got some nice citrus notes to it, like some nice oranginess to it that I'm a big fan of. Would you guys trade an Old Forester single barrel proof pick for a Stag Junior batch?
100%. 3 times over. 100 times over. I would. Yeah. Yes. You should do that. All right, but back to this whiskey.
Yeah, it's like orangey. It's got a nice body. It's really chewy. It's pretty rich.
All right. I also think it was rich. I did get some like youth on the back. In that I think it's a finished rye. And the proof I thought was not super high, but not super low either. So I'll drop, and again, I wrote them down so we can validate. 108 proof. I do think it's young. I think it's 4 years, but I think the finishing covers up some of the youth. Some kind of finished rye. I think it's probably MGP, but it's not an MGP release, but I have no idea. So distillery and bottle, I have no idea. I just wrote MGP. So maybe I'll get a half a point if it is an MGP.
I wrote 112 proof, 5-year rye whiskey, double oaked from Starlight.
Oh, nice.
I.e. our pick.
You thought it was our pick from Starlight. Well, let's unsheath it.
Oh, is it underneath this?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
112 proof. Dang it. Straight rye from Sagamore. What's the age on this one? Probably 4, I would imagine. But
non-HA is probably 3.
Yeah. So
sorry, Tom. I didn't realize that there was stuff underneath it. Dude, I'm gonna put this out here. I like Sagamore ryes. The couple of Sags that I've had, I've enjoyed.
So, Brian, you get 1 for getting the straight rye, and then you get 1 for getting closer on proof. I get 1 for getting closer.
You said it was a rye too, didn't you?
I said a finished rye.
Okay.
So I'm going to call myself off. Like, I'm really surprised that that's a straight rye. That's pretty good. Nice. Thanks, Tom, for that one. So you're up 2-1 after the first round.
That's fun.
Oh, Tom's giving me 0.5 for MGP. Yeah. All right. Sweet. That makes sense because I did get that right. Did you? Oh, yeah. You picked Starlight.
Wait, so what? What's?
Tom gave me 0.5 because I said MGP, and that's correct because Sagamore is MGP.
So what's the score? 2 to 1.5?
2 to 1.5. Yep.
What did you get the 1 on?
I got the 1 on the age because I was closer.
But it's not age stated.
Right, but Sagamore, and I said, what is the age? And you said probably closer to 3. I said it's got to be 4, right? And you said probably closer to 3. You
right, but it's not age stated. You can't get it if it's not age stated. There's just no point there.
You want to make an assumption? I mean, yeah, if you want to challenge it, we can let Nation decide, which I'm fine. Like, I'm totally willing to yield to the court of Nation. Tom says NAS. So, I mean, if that's the case, then nobody would get a point on that. So, Nation, you all decide and let me know. That's fine. If you're like, nah, Sagamore's not clear, Drew does not get a point.
A lot of it says Sagamore Rye. Their double oaked is 4 years. I don't think there's anything that's going to even say what it is because it's non-age stated.
Right.
Does the bottle? So if it's a straight, we know it's 2
at least. Yeah.
And is there anything else, Tom, on this bottle that might help us see how close it is?
They actually have to age state it. If
he said
4.
So it's straight. If it's straight rye, so the minimum is 4.
Yeah, right. So yeah, all right, that's fine. All right. So I only have a half a point then on the MGP. So now it's 2 to half a point. So that's a great start.
Now, Andrew, I guessed 5 and Drew guessed 4. I was just saying after the fact that I thought Sagamore stuff was 3 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm wrong in that.
Given all the information we have so far, we can't declare a winner on that one. So I will take my point off. And it's very clear I only have a half a point for MGP, and Brian has 2 points for getting the proof closer. We were both very close, but he just nailed it. And then the product. All right. Number 2. Here we go. Another nice color on this. I'll say that. And the color on the Sagamore also, when I poured it, that's one of the things I thought that led me to believe it was finished was the color. There's so much like contained within that moan.
That smells so nice. The smell is so good.
I'm just going to say it. That tastes like Dr. Pepper. I think it's Dr. Pepper.
I thought it smelled like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. When you say Dr. Pepper, I totally I hear that. I mean, even the finish, like Tom says he hasn't had
it's effervescent.
Tom says he hasn't even tried this one yet. There's some phosphoric acidity in there. I mean, the nose is quite rich. We need to write down our answers, then we can talk
about it. The next pick that we're doing is our Middle West Spirits pick.
Well, it's already
the next one that's going to drop. Well, yeah. That's what Rod is asking. What's the next release they should be looking for?
Yeah, but here's the thing. They haven't even bottled it yet. I pinged Rudra to like 2 days ago, and I was like, "Where are these bottles?" He said,
so it might be our Dancing Goat. Do we know what it's going to be branded as?
No, we don't know that either.
Do we want to say? Well, we shouldn't because I don't know what Blake's gonna. Let's just forget it. Let's forget it.
Yeah, well, we know it's going to be $60 to $70, 8-year MGP bourbon from Dancing Goat. That's what we know. Stoked about that. And then this Middle West pick is getting older every day, and it was really good. But we don't know when it's going to hit. So we know that we got 3 picks coming to Nation. We just have to schedule the Driftless Glen one. But the Dancing Goat pick has already happened, and we can pull a rye out of there if we want to that's currently toasting. So that might come Christmas time. Middle West pick was awesome. We're just waiting. and then Driftless Glen, we still have to do the pick.
This
So we
one,
need blind colors up.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This one has like kind of a mustardy. This kind of tastes like mustard too. Do you get that at all?
I did not, but I'll go back to it.
Kind of tastes like mustard seed.
We need to write down our answers before we don't give me anything here.
I'm just giving you some completely random notes.
I don't get mustard. Does not show up.
So savory.
I think these blinds I really struggle with.
It's like mustard or soy sauce or something. There's some savoriness to this, dude. It's weird.
All right. I've got it.
Okay. I'm done with my writing.
Okay. Changing my answer slightly.
Dr.
Right.
Pepper.
Yeah.
Mustard seed.
It is cola-y. I don't get any mustard whatsoever.
Teriyaki sauce.
I got maple syrup. I did not get it as savory as you are, but I'm eating pretzels. So,
dude, it is savory. It is weird, Tom. It's weird though, dude.
I don't think it's that weird. I get raisins, black pepper. The finish is kind of bitter, but I don't get as much. Like I don't get salt. I don't get teriyaki soy. I don't get weird fish. It tastes like a pretty rich, young, hot whiskey, which makes me think I know what it is. Especially coming from Tom. You ready? All your stuff is written down?
Dude, those flavors are so weird.
You're ready? Are we ready?
No.
Now I've said too much. You said you were good, and therefore I just closed my heart.
Okay.
All right. We're going.
Okay.
It is pretty hot. It's got some kick. 120 proof. That's my guess. Age, I think we're still young. I think we're in the 4 to 5 year range. I think it's bourbon. I think it's from Middle West. I think it's a Middle West Michelob Reserve.
I was curious about Middle West and Michelob, but it doesn't have the graham cracker note, so I can't lean towards that. It comes off hot to me, so I said it's 125.
Okay.
Dude, I don't know about this age because it's so funky.
Yeah.
Here's the part where I go against what I said before. I said earlier that if you go in with a bottle in mind, then you score everything, and that's wrong. Here's where I broke that. I feel like this is like a Knob Creek. Okay, I'm jumping ahead things, but it tastes like a rye. So like on the palate, I wrote down 125 proof, 8-year knob rye ? On what it is.
Okay.
I've not had. Does Knob Creek even make a rye?
They do. Yes, they very much do.
I don't. It's so savory in this. It doesn't remind me exactly of what Eric gave me, but when I've come into some weird savory things, it's not. So Andrew said barbecue teriyaki from New Riff. I've had some of those mesquite type things from New Riff, but it doesn't taste as two-dimensional. There's still some depth to this, which is why I said it was like older than something younger. But I don't know.
All right. Well, let's unsheath it. You said 8 years. Oh my gosh. You sure you didn't look at this, Brian? Knob Creek Cast Strength Rye, 127 proof.
What is this though? Like, what is this product?
It's the cast. I have one. I have one unopened in my bunker. I got to go back to this. It didn't taste anything like a rye.
This is funky.
I'm just gonna kill myself. I don't mean to joke about that, but I'm seriously to the point of ending it. Like,
you should not joke about that.
I know I shouldn't joke about it, but I am frustrated. You can see the veins bulging out of my eyes. I regret joking about it. It was inappropriate, and I'm sorry. It's not something to be joked about. I'm deeply frustrated. This clearly does not matter that much. So you get the proof, you get the age. The moral of the story is either Brian cheated or I know nothing, which is probably the second one.
This still tastes like a sauce to me.
I'm surprised. Batch 2. Let me see which one I have. Wait for it. So this is batch 2 warehouse A. Mine's less. Like mine's 119.6 proof. Warehouse A. This is 127 proof. 2010. I think mine's 2009. So I think mine may be the first one. But I'm not a big fan of it. I thought I'd be a fan of it, but
tell me what you think about this, Tom. Tom says it's good.
Yeah, that's what he said. So
dude, it is. I just want someone to tell me that they also think it's savory. Dude, it is so savory.
I just got dry, kind of nothing on the finish. Like I thought
it's like coriander and mustard seed and some sort of sauce that you would put on chicken or veal or pork.
So real quick,
it's like Heinz 57. It's like Heinz 57.
You got the proof, you got the age, you got the product, you got the distillery, and then
I got lucky.
Yeah, you don't get the bottle. I'm not gonna give you that, but pretty dang close. So now it's 6-2 at half a point. And really, at this point, I'm just wondering why. I'm just asking myself that question. I subject myself to this. We do have another blind coming from my boy Aaron.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's up, commenter?
Yeah, you haven't missed much. You've missed a lot, but I'm losing, and that's why I say that you haven't missed much. Yeah, I want richness.
Heinz, thank you, Tom. Thank you. It tastes like Heinz. It's unique, but it's.
I'm gonna have to come back.
Savory, man.
I'm gonna come back to it. Not now.
Drew, we should have done this when you're not getting a cold, man. I'm gonna chalk it up to you getting a cold.
I appreciate that. I hope it's that, and not me being wretched at tasting. But time will tell.
Okay.
So far I don't feel bad because I've won one and you've won one. This is the rubber match ish, the initial rubber match. But if we get, like 12 episodes in and I'm down 11-1, it's gonna look pretty bad. But I can still pull it out. Who knows? Let's go to sample.
Why does it have to look at it? So here's what's challenging about the blinds. I do not claim to be able to know things like proof and age and distillery. I claim to be able to break apart flavor. I just like talking about flavor. Everything else I'm pretty shit on. So excuse my Heinz sauce, but I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
3.
It's just fun. It's a buttload of fun to try and pick this apart. And
this one smells nice.
I do believe that Brian is a very, very good taster. That's one of the reasons that we partnered together. So Tom says maybe I'm not wretched, maybe you're just amazing. I'd like to think that way, but I'm so competitive in my soul. I want to be the best, and to get my butt handed to me is a little bit tough. But it's a good growing thing. Like, it's good for me to get my butt handed to me and to be like, no, Drew, sometimes you just suck, and that's okay. All
I'm
right,
done.
this is dark. That's what I'm gonna say. Pouring number 3 right now is very dark.
Yeah, I'm done.
You're done already? I haven't even smelled it. How do you know what this is?
I don't actually.
It's really good. I'll say that. It's up my alley, but it's kind of funky too. Like it tastes like a younger whiskey masquerading as an older whiskey. But it tastes really good. So I'm gonna find some grounding here. By the way, if you like this shirt, hit the link in the show notes below. You can get one. Also, if you don't already, you should follow at Drew P. Whiskey, at AbandonBourbon on Instagram. Also, Brian, I don't know if you talked about this last week, but your new gig in bourbon. Well, we
haven't talked off air of whether we should talk about it on air, so I just haven't brought it up.
About it at all. Go for it, because I think it's cool.
So as of last week, I am now on the side also working with Pursuit Spirits. So Kenny and Ryan approached me about helping them with their social media and marketing stuff as it pertains to Pursuit Spirits. So not Bourbon Pursuit, because Kenny focuses a lot on the Bourbon Pursuit side of things. So I'm working on that with them. And part of what's going to come out of that also is a podcast specifically about Pursuit Spirits. So being able to go through when they do stuff that are the episode bottles, and then talking about things with Kenny and Ryan, industry related stuff. Maybe bringing some of the people who are into to their products and talking about some of their favorite releases or whatever. I know that one of the episodes I have queued up is talking about resting whiskey. I think Pursuit is a good example of that. Pursuit is one of the ones that I feel like comes off a little too tight when you first pour it, but after about 30 minutes, if you do let your glass open up, there's a lot more vanilla, a lot more caramel. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. One thing that I thought about, I think maybe the first episode that I'm going to do with that is talking with Kenny, and it's going to be talking about how he separates himself to be both a brand guy and also still a whiskey connoisseur guy who goes on picks. I find that intriguing that he could still like represent just general people and go do picks, but yet also still represents a brand himself. So I'll be doing that with them. I'll be doing the social stuff with them, and keep doing everything else too. So that's on top of regular gig stuff. It was kind of handy because it's relatively low time commitment, enough that I could do it on top of my regular job. So it's not like I'm having to uproot myself. But it'll be pretty fun.
Yep. It's pretty rad. Happy for you.
Thanks, dude.
I am still trying to figure this out. I think I have an inclination what it might be, but it's so something or other. There's just a point at which it's tough to nail down. So I'm actually trying to cheat a little bit. There was such a thing. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm lost then. Hold on.
I went a little hard with the paint with this one. I kind of wrote everything down right away. So I'm not really.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Bourbon Mike says go with your gut. Mike, I appreciate the counsel. I would generally agree with you. But I have no idea what this is. So I'm going to go with what I think. Gosh, hold on. Never mind. I may do a complete 180 here. Wait for it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to scratch this all out.
Oh, man. Eric Sawyer digging up the deep cuts with the I Brew My Own Coffee podcast.
Yeah. Vintage.
That's vintage. That's circa 2017 right there.
Okay. 3 is tough to pin down. It's got a richness on the front end. So I'm ready to talk now. That's why I'm talking. Very dark. Dark pour. Viscous on the front. Interesting flavor vibes. There's like sweetness, viscosity, a spiciness, and then a touch of bitterness. And then you kind of get this explosion of like still kind of effervescence, similar to what I was saying on the knob, which I thought the knob was like a young whiskey being just like disguised as an older whiskey. That's why I thought it was Middle West, because that one tends to convey a lot more maturity than its age would lead us to believe. I get the same kind of sensation with sample number 3. A decent amount of heat, a lot of flavor, a solid whiskey. Not amazing, but really good. Like whoever's making it's doing great things for sure. And I have a guess at what it is, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, Brian, and then I'll share what my guess was.
So it's tricky. I mean, the nose immediately kind of still smells like a rye to me.
Yeah.
But it's leathery.
Yep.
And so when I smell leathery and I smell rye, my first thought was, this is toasted. Who does a toasted rye? I don't know, Elijah Craig. Do they? No, they don't. They do toasted, and they also have a rye. And so, but I also just picked at Nulu today, and the flavor of this reminds me of the flavors of some of the things I tried. So it immediately made me think maybe it's a toasted Nulu.
That's a great
I'm probably
guess.
wrong.
We're very similar. My guess is it's that Pumpernickel rye from Middle West. I'm back on Middle West. I think it's that pump rye.
Yep.
All right. That is specifically the single barrel that we tasted while we were there. So unsheath it.
Well, we didn't go through our answers, proof and age and everything.
Oh, okay. Sorry. 118, 5 year.
I did 113 5 year, and then I said toasted rye Nulu.
I said Middle West pump rye. It is the Middle West pump rye.
Boom.
Freak, yeah. I wrote 5, you wrote 5, so we don't get points on that. What was the
super high proof?
What did you write down on proof?
I wrote 113. You wrote 118. It's 127.
So I get 1. I get 1 on product, distillery, and bottle. So I get 4.
What do we do about age?
We both said 5, so we get nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. So you get none, I get 4.5. So now it's 4.5 to 6 going in the last round. Yeah, the confidence just restored. So we've got, just to be super clear, if people are watching this,
I didn't end up getting that Pumpernickel rye.
Just to be,
is that the one that just came out?
I didn't get it either. Yeah, I passed on it. It was great though. You just nailed the Knob Creek rye, and then I nailed this one. Like, what are the odds of that? Like, come on, that's pretty cool. That's pretty good.
And if you're just tuning in too, keep in mind, Drew also said the only way that can happen is if I suck or Brian cheated, and then he also admitted to cheating on the second one. So, and I'm not saying anything. So I'm just saying, just throwing it out there.
Yeah. So to be clear, when I thought I was cheating, I can actually screen share. I looked up Starlight. I thought it may have been the cognac finish Starlight, because I thought it was a younger whiskey, but then I pivoted and I was like, you know what? I don't think it's that. I think it's I thought it was like, well, the cognac was a rye, but I didn't get cognac. So anyway, and when I was like, Brian may have cheated, but I was like, no, give him credit. I'm just not very good at this. But yeah, I made a comeback. So now we've at least made it interesting going into round.
Ooh, it's neck and neck. It's neck and neck.
To be clear, I'm still down 1.5 points, but yeah, it's much more competitive at this point. It's any man's game, as they say, as we go into batch 4. All right, here we go. Are you already on 4? I haven't even poured it yet.
I've not poured it yet. I'm just now opening it.
All right, here we go. Ooh, it's different than all the others, which goes without saying, but. And Tom, you are contributing to my craft whiskey journey on these as well, so that's great. That's 2 so far. Well, yeah, because I didn't count the rye, the pump rye from the barrel pick, so we got to be up to 87 now. Here's the deal with you guys. Outside of Eric, who is dropping us Eagle Rare, these are not easy things to like pick.
Wow.
You don't smell it and go like, oh, I know what that is. And even Eric threw us the Eagle Rare single barrel. The Knob Creek single barrels we had didn't really taste Knob Creeky. So my point in saying that was this one is also a little tough to nail down. Just based on the nose. I swallowed wrong. That was really dumb.
Uh-oh.
Whew. This is so different.
It is different.
I have a direction. Yeah, I think I got it.
There's just one thing I don't
have it. Never mind.
There's one thing I don't know. I think. There's one thing. This is
Don't over disclose. There may be a lot of things that neither of us knows.
Man.
I think I got it. I'm ready. Ready when you are.
I'm going to go on a limb with something real quick.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm with you. I'm out on a limb myself. Maybe we're on the same limb. Okay. You start.
I'm going to. Okay. Everything is now written down here.
Yep. Ditto. Everything's written down.
Oh, shoot. Never mind. I was going to ask Tom a question, but I don't actually think that what I was just thinking. I was getting ready to ask if Tom bought this when we were together. But now that I'm remembering being together, I don't actually think he purchased anything. I think we just talked about it.
Well,
I think we just looked at this bottle and talked about it.
Well, let's talk about what you think it is, because I think I wrote down what you think it is.
So the flavor in this is very good for a rye whiskey.
Agreed. I also think it's a rye, and I think it's very sweet I don't think it's a straight rye.
Some might even say this rye whiskey could go neck to neck with an MGP rye. Maybe if, say, Whistle Pig did some of these ryes as well as MGP ryes.
So I don't think it's Whistle Pig, but keep going.
So I think it is 130 proof, non-age stated Alberta premium rye.
Okay, I hope it's not that. Hold on.
I think it's their bottle. I thought for a moment I thought that Tom bought this when we were there, but now that I'm remembering and talking about it, we were talking about this rye at Westport Whiskey and Wine when he came in town.
Okay,
and that's just my memory. It tastes like a Whistle Pig that a group of mine picked, which would be Alberta rye.
Right. I think it's got more barrel influence than a Whistle Pig generally. And I also got brandy / cognac on the nose. So I also don't get 130 proof. That said, I have palate fatigue. So I'm thinking less. I'm thinking it's that cognac Starlight pick that happened while we were there. So 150 proof 5 year. I don't know what the proof was. I don't know what the age was because I didn't get one. But I got cognac. I also think it's rye. So I think it's that cognac pick from Starlight. Let's open it up.
It is a little youthful.
Yeah. Right. Gosh dang it. How on earth, Brian? Alberta Distillers, Alberta Premium Cask Strength Rye, 132 proof.
It tastes like Whistle Pig, but not as old.
What are the odds?
I remember getting a sample. I thought I remember trying a sample of this and being like, "There's no way it drinks that proof."
I know.
So I took a shot in the dark. I took a shot in the dark here.
100. Yeah, this does not taste like 132 proof.
No way.
It has a richness too that I would not get out of a Canadian rye generally.
Somehow I misremembered something happening that I wrote all of my answers based on that didn't actually happen.
Whatever. Yeah, so you won because you nailed 2 of them. Congrats. I don't feel bad about my guess. I think you're. I think
now that you're mentioning it, it does taste finished.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've got some insider
full and finished.
Happening. I think history will tell an interesting story on this blind that has now set me down 2-1, which is fine because we got another blind coming. And this is a lifetime battle. So even if I go down 11-1 with the rest of our lives.
There was our local Louisville group did a 13-year pick, and I brought my 13-year Dave Pickerel Last Bourbon Cartel Whistle Pig MGP up, and we blinded them. And I was certain that the one was the MGP because the flavor was so good. And it was revealed, and it was Alberta. And I had to eat my words because everyone says if it's not MGP, they don't want it when it comes to the Whistle Pig stuff. But there is some good Alberta rye. For sure. Yeah. This is a little youthful. This is a little youthful, and I think I'd probably take the cognac over this. But it's nice.
Eric says I drank that last month. I drank what? Where was I? I drank this Alberta. I don't think I've tried that before. I mean, again, it very easily could have happened. Maybe Eric gave it to us. I don't think he did. Maybe he gave us the cognac finished rye. What sample number was that? Anyway. So I took the L. Brian, congrats. Well done. You nailed 2 of them, really. And we nailed together collectively 3 out of 4. So that is pretty cool. And
we're not going on to World's Top Whiskey Taster. So
yeah, so we're letting other people. We're letting other people win. Really is what's happening. It's 9:20. We got plenty of time. I got plenty of pretzels, and I want to revisit this Blackened before we tune out tonight. But gosh,
yeah, for sure.
I drank so much water. So, Brian, why don't you talk about something interesting? And I apologize to those of you who tuned in.
Yeah, I don't know what interesting to say. Honestly, one thing we didn't get a chance to ask because they just released it. Who in the chat? Anybody in the chat? Did you guys fill out for the Four Roses limited edition? And did anybody in the chat hit? Anybody in the chat getting one of the 2021 Four Roses limited editions? Anybody win the raffle thing that they did, the lottery? Because it was not me. It was not me. Tom, what's your favorite? What's your favorite of these four? Dude, that Pumpernickel rye is... That's good. I should have got that. I should have bought that. I should have bought that. It's nice. All the way around, it's nice. So yeah, I went, I got a chance to join Bourbon Pursuit today. We picked 2 Nulu barrels. I swore I would never do a Nulu pick. Nice, Eric. Good luck, man. Nice, William. Let me know if you win. I swore I'd never go to Nulu, but it was in the afternoon of a day. And it's hard to say no to a barrel pick, especially one that's literally 3 blocks away from where I work. So I did. And you know what? The juice was not bad. Of all the toasted products, I didn't love the toasted products, but of all the 21% rye 5-year MGPs, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. We ended up with one. And it's not bad. It's not bad. I wish it would have been older, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I really liked it. I went back to it. So Brian and I do disagree a little bit on that. Well, we don't disagree. We just have different opinions on it. So
I was that?
I believe you were talking about the bourbon we picked from Dancing Goat.
No.
Oh, never mind.
No, I was telling folks that I swore to myself I would never support Nulu as a company.
Oh yeah.
And I ended up on that pick today. And it's hard to say no to a pick that was so close to where I work because it is very, very, it's a couple of blocks away.
Yeah, right.
But I got asked, I was like, I've got some time. The toasteds I wasn't in love with. The bourbons were overly leathery. One was like really fiery. The other one hadn't spent enough time in it. The ryes, I think, Drew, you would have liked the toasted Nulu ryes. They had that kind of Christmas cookie, lemon oil, the same sort of thing that the limousine ryes had. But again, that kind of lemon oil clove thing just doesn't agree with my palate very much. And so one of them we liked more than the others, and that's the one that got picked. But then we did also pick a 5-year 21% rye bourbon. What's neat about this, I've never heard of this before. Maybe you have. The one that we picked was in a, let me see what it says. The barrel was an East Berks barrel. Have you ever heard of East Berks as a cooperage? Hold on, let me see if that's even East Berks cooperage. That might be wrong. Kentucky cooperage. That's got to be wrong. Hold on. I'm pretty sure he said East Berks barrel.
Porkins, I'm pretty sure Pumpernickel is a variety of rye. It's not just whole grain rye. It's that like Pumpernickel is like a kind of rye. And there are a variety of varieties of rye. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I won't go wax poetic about why I don't like Nulu. It's very personal. But I just kind of was like, I don't care. There's just no reason for me to support them as a brand. But I did go. I was impressed with the ryes that with the bourbons that we tried. The toasteds weren't exactly my flavor profile, but the other guys seemed to really dig it, and we picked 2 barrels, so that's fine. The bourbons had some diversity to the flavor, and it's MGP. So you can't exactly. I wish you would have been a little older, but is there still something in here? Let's see. I think the bourbon is I think the bourbon's good. It's again, it was in a barrel I hadn't heard of before, and I kind of have these softer notes that were enjoyable.
Yeah.
It had some nice like sweet kind of char notes to it, but then it was really fruity and sweet and chewy. Was a big fan. Oh
Cool.
yeah, it's really mapley on the nose.
So you can't just say you're not a big fan of Nulu without saying why.
I said it's personal. I mean, it's nothing anyone else is going to necessarily resonate with. It's, it's okay.
So Beck says, when I buy rye flour, I can buy dark, light, and pumpernickel. The only difference is how much bran they sift, but that could just be the mill I buy from. Well, I'm not a rye expert, but now I'm going to look this up after we're done here, because now I'm curious, super curious, and I don't know the difference, honestly. Maybe it is just that, but I think you're right that all distilleries probably start with whole grains, and then, well, I take that back. A lot of distilleries, especially small ones, probably have the grains milled. They don't mill the grains themselves. So maybe it has to do with the way the grains are milled. Maybe. We might be learning things right now.
Could just be a branding term.
So, you know what?
Like they do in processing coffee.
I'm Googling it now. What is pumpernickel? Rye. There's a difference between rye and pumpernickel. That's exactly what we want to know. Well, this is what is the difference between pumpernickel bread and rye bread. Pumpernickel bread is usually made with a high proportion of rye flour and a small amount of wheat flour. It's the rye flour, however, that's of particular interest. Traditional old world black pumpernickel bread uses coarse rye flour that's ground from the entire rye berry. This flour is sometimes referred to as meal. Okay. Coarse rye meal is commonly called pumpernickel flour. Yeah. Looks like Porkins knows his stuff. So, yeah, it seems like maybe that has to do with it. Maybe when people are, or maybe it's just a branding thing for Middle West. Whereas it seems like a lot of rye is whole grain or coarse meal. Maybe a lot of people could say it's pumpernickel, and Middle West just does. I know when I was a kid, I got a pumpernickel bagel, thinking it was going to taste like chocolate because it was dark AF, as fudge. Obviously, that's why I meant dark as fudge. And it was that dark. It was dark as fudge. And
well,
I bit into it as a child, and obviously I was hit with rye and caraway flavors instead of chocolate, and I regretted it instantly. But
this little bit thing that I'm reading says pumpernickel loaves tend to be dense, dark, and strongly flavored. So perhaps it's not actually even about what it does on a flavor level, but maybe it brings out more flavor, or it makes it a stronger flavor, like the whole combining it with other things in their rye. Maybe it makes it to them a stronger flavored rye, which might allow you to put out a younger whiskey earlier because it has such rich, bold flavors. Maybe. But again, it also might be marketing. So
might be marketing. Who knows?
I think it's marketing, dude.
Okay, cool. I'm with you.
It's good though. I think it's probably my favorite of the ones in this flight. That's what I asked Tom. What would you say is your favorite of these four?
That's tough. The Alberta was
the nose on this pumpernickel is so good.
It's definitely the
I really missed out on this.
It's definitely the richest, and I'm a big fan of rich whiskeys. And when we tasted this, when we did the barrel pick, I was like, that's pretty dang good. And I agree tonight. It is pretty dang good. And my initial gut was this is a finished rye because it's so rich. But then I was like, you know what? I think it's that Middle West pump rye. And it's, 3+ years. That's the age statement. For that age, it's ridiculously good. So,
Yeah, Sample 2 still smells like Band-Aids and Heinz sauce.
Which was the knob.
Yeah, you know it's knob if it smells like Band-Aids.
That's not true. What's wrong
That's
with
not
you?
true. It could be Heaven Hill.
But I get Band-Aid as well. No, I don't want to.
It's got that iodine medicinal.
Now I'm going to give away my Knob Creek. I mean, so they brand these things as limited edition, cask strength rye. So this is the same stuff that goes into Booker's rye at 9 years old. So you got to think, if something is close in any way to Booker's rye, it's going to be these knobs.
Real quick.
Releases.
Real quick. I want to say something. I don't know if you're aware. I don't want to make it seem like you're an idiot and that you wouldn't be aware.
But I might.
But when I was at the pick today, they were talking to me about something about Heaven Hill. And they were talking about one of their products goes into a different barrel than the other products. And I didn't think about that. But we always say, oh, Baker's is the same thing as Basil Hayden. It's just older or it's more proof. Or we always say Eagle Rare is the same thing as Buffalo Trace. It's just older. And in most cases, I think these might be true. But I wonder if we're not actually privy to the fact that maybe some of these other things exist that make them untrue. Like it's quite possible that they're like, no, we buy from ISC for Henry McKenna, and we buy from Kelvid Cooperage for this stuff. We get, does that make sense?
Yeah, makes
in some sense. In some of these barrel decisions, they could say, no, I barrel stuff this way for this, and I barrel stuff this way for that. I don't think that's necessarily true. If we were to actually dig, we'd probably find out it's not. But when I heard that, I was like, oh, that would make complete sense, and also be a reason why these barrels do taste unique to their own brand. It could be the same mash bill, but that's why they taste different at different ages, because they are in different barrels as well. And that's a huge factor when they're charred to what flavors you're going to get out of there. And that's something I hadn't really thought about.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. I mean, there's so much variance from barrel to barrel, though, that I think Heaven Hill can probably pull different profiles to match their brands from one cooperage, given just the sheer quantity of barrels. That said, I do think it's a reasonable idea, like certainly something to think about in your brain. Do they use different cooperages for the different brands? I like that. What did they say? What were they surmising?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was just a statement. Oh yeah, blank distiller uses this barrels for this line and this barrels for this line, but I don't remember. No. I don't think it was a char thing, because I'm pretty sure we know Heaven Hill uses char 3. That's something I think we do know.
We can't look past this comment from Porkins. The word pumpernickel actually comes from an old German dialect and basically means devil farts.
Makes sense, dude. Makes sense.
I mean, I would expect devil farts to be awful. Maybe angel farts. But cool.
Jug, no, we actually have not talked about the Heaven Hill strike talk, but it does make for a very interesting Kentucky Bourbon Festival this weekend. So, because you currently cannot go to Heaven Hill. So
labor, what I will say, labor union politics are difficult. They're just difficult. Like, naturally, totally understandably, labor group, like the folks rolling barrels, filling barrels, working hard, they're going to want to advocate and do what they can to ensure the best living they possibly can. 100%. And in some cases, that means organization underneath what we, in our culture, in our society, know as labor unions. Those labor unions were formed in a given time under certain environments that may or may not be savory, but they've persisted for a variety of reasons, and have served their purpose and probably still need to serve their purpose in certain cases. That said, business is tough. I just got to say that as like a business owner, business is freaking tough. Heaven Hill seems to be doing just fine. Like they seem to be able to spare a decent amount. But when I looked up, I'm just ranting and raving here like a lunatic, but I looked up this particular instance and I saw the hourly wages of Heaven Hill and what they were asking for relative to the broader community. And it's like basically a $6 an hour raise. Or I don't even know that that's what they're asking for, but they're saying the minimum wage at Heaven Hill against the minimum wage it's like Jim Beam is roughly $6 an hour, which for a full-time employee means like $12,000. Not a small amount of money that the difference is there, but a $24 an hour job, you know, if you're rolling barrels, is still somewhere in the range of $48,000 as a minimum wage. And depending on what community you're in, $48,000, not bad. Like, is it ritzy? No. Is it far from poverty? Yes, it's far from poverty, especially on a global scale. So, you know, there's a tough line, and I don't know that there's a line so much as everything's different depending on the organization, the particular industry. But like, at what point does it make sense? At what point is it fair? At what point does it actually hinder the growth of the particular company and harm somebody's job in the long term? It's a case by case basis. As we look at the Heaven Hill strike, I just think my reaction is this sucks. It sucks for literally everybody. It sucks for the people who are striking. It sucks for the Shapiro family, who are filthy rich. Like I don't mean to make excuses for people who are filthy rich. At the same time, it's a family-owned business, and like this is their thing. Like this is what they do. It's what they've done, and now their employees are like, "Screw you guys, we're striking." That sucks for them. It personally hurts. Do they deserve it? I have no idea. I don't know the Shapiras. Everything I've heard about them seems to be fairly savory, at least over the last couple of decades. So I can't be like, oh, yeah, they definitely deserve it. You know, $24 an hour minimum wage doesn't sound bad. Like for me, who worked at much less minimum wage when I was in seminary or, you know, even coming out of that when I did remodeling, nowhere close to that. Not even half that. So labor politics in the United States are interesting because even our minimum wage as a country, what we consider poverty, varies drastically from a lot of other countries. Are we the best? No, we're not. You know, we don't have the best standard of living for those in poverty in our country compared to others. Do we have room to grow? For sure. That said, we're way better than the majority of countries. So where should we be? I honestly just don't know. I don't. I think about this a lot because of course, I work in the coffee industry, which is rife with politics and difficult ethical questions to solve when it comes to financial allocations. I'll say that. So those are a bunch of thoughts I have about this particular strike instance. None of them are I don't have a conclusion. I honestly don't know enough. And I get that it's just terribly complex. Brian, do you have anything to add?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. I'm just listening.
Yeah. It's tough. Very tough. All right. Any other questions, though, or any other grenades people want to throw tonight? I will say, coming back to the Blackened Willett, I really like it. Up against anything else we had tonight, I came back to this and I'm like,
That pumpernickel rye.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that again. But
It's kind
this
of a
is
spicy meatball.
so
Sweet nose, spicy meatball on the palate.
No spicy, but my goodness. Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of this Blackened Willett. I'm really fruity, minty, spicy, not bitter at all, not young at all, not old at all either, but really balanced and delicious. I mean, I've never had a Willett 4-year rye that I didn't like. This is a good step above that. Again, it's expensive. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's really good. Mr. Drushka, we tried the Blackened cast strength. We're talking, or I'm talking about the new Blackened cast strength Willett collaboration. I've not had anything else from Blackened, so I endorse this, even though it's probably too expensive. It's very good whiskey. And I can talk about nothing else Blackened because I've tried nothing else Blackened.
Not even salmon?
So I'll actually say this with pride. Commenter McComment face. Who did you vote for and why? I don't. You know what? I won't say. I may say
Please,
it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I won't say. But I hold my opinion with pride. And it is in light of the fact that American politics are just tough because we have two parties massively bifurcated, no commonalities whatsoever. We feed into the more divisive, the better. Like, that's how our culture works. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And that's kind of my opinion on labor divisions. It's because it's an us versus them, and it's not the labor union that's at fault, it's not the owner that's at fault, it's kind of both. In these instances and in American politics, it's you versus me. And what I'm not going to try and do is try and find commonality and let's agree to work together, collaborate to make life better. Let's just fight. Let's just freaking fight this thing out. And my personal desire is to try and find commonality and meet people and be like, hey, how can we build together? Dang it, my battery's dying. Talk to my camera. How can we build together? How can we create something cool together? How do we understand each other, understand each other's goals, our backgrounds, and then build something neat? By and large, our culture doesn't work that way, and I don't like it. So that led to a certain philosophy going into the last election, but we can talk about it some other time. I did not vote for Ralph Nader. All right, I will. I'll dial it back here. I'll change out my battery. Any questions, y'all, before we sign off for tonight?
Non-political preferred.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with talking politics. I really am. I just know that generally it leads to a lot of kind of a violent perspective. Not that people are actually violent, but it's an inflammatory deal. So I don't really want to make it inflammatory. At the same time, I don't think it necessarily has to be, which is kind of what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be you versus somebody else. You guys can have different opinions and still work together. Still changing.
Jug had asked, what's a recent whiskey you've tried and were very surprised by, pleasantly or otherwise?
Ooh, I'd like to hear your answer. What do you got?
I'm trying to think of what to even talk about. I've recently had lots of whiskey, so I
Surprise.
I don't know what to talk about in regards to that specifically. I feel like I have to say something I enjoyed. So I'm trying.
Well, you think about that. That's a great question. Could I vote when Ralph Nader ran? No, I could not. To be super clear, could not do that. Gore Bush, I was probably 12.
Whiskey Boo also said, left you a question about Whistle Pig farm stock beyond Bonnet. Nope, know nothing about it. I haven't tried it. Don't know anything about it.
I know zero about it. Christopher M. Hey, Drew and Brian. Thanks, dude, for the super chat, by the way. Appreciate that. Thoughts Kentucky Spirit. Huge fan of Kentucky Spirit.
Yep.
The ones I've had have been fantastic, and they haven't even been store picks. They're just off the shelf, 101 proof awesomeness. So big fan of Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit. It's one of those whiskeys you can go to and you grab it off the shelf at $60, and it's fantastic. And you can get it at a lot of places. So
I'm gonna go back to that question about recent whiskey you've tried and surprised by. I just don't have an answer for it. I did though at the at my favorite bar in town try Michter's 10-year bourbon from this year. A little tricky to come by. Didn't exactly remember or know what to expect. I think I've only had Michter's 10-year bourbon one other time. I really like that pour. It's got some good age to it. It noses like a Brown Forman product.
I made a video not too long ago comparing Michter's 10 bourbon against Michter's 10 rye, and I said I like the Michter's 10 bourbon. I've had two different Michter's 10 bourbons, and I really like them both. So I'm with you. Really big fan.
I was really pleased with it. It had some nice caramely sweetness for, but also balanced with oak, the kind of oak that I like. It's like if Michter's 10 was $100, I might drink it a lot more.
Right.
But with it being like
really expensive,
Blake, what's up? Having a drink next to you recently at Evergreen Liquors. Cheers, man. What side of me were you on, so I can remember which particular time it was that I was at Evergreen, because I've been there recently.
Odds are
not. Are you the dude with the Florida hospitality group that I overheard just the other day?
Yeah, I was gonna say odds are not good of people like, hey Drew, I had a drink next to you in Milwaukee.
Nobody talks to me, dude. I just look like a hipster, like just some rando nerdy hipster. So no one ever says anything to me.
Well, I look like Mark Ruffalo went on a diet. Like that's so.
Yeah, I gotta take Tom to Evergreen. I'm there, dude. I'm there all the time. It is a stone's throw away from where I work. So it's my new stomping ground.
I've been to Louisville 5 times. I've never been to Evergreen. No one ever told me to go to Evergreen. So.
Well, it was. I don't think it was open when you were here last. It just opened not too long ago.
Yeah,
there is an Evergreen, but it's out in Middletown. There's a new one open downtown, and they've got a tasting bar there, and it's so good. The people there are good. You could buy your high noons. You can buy some cigars.
Is that where Single Barrel Snob is? Where's he at?
Tim works there now. So
yeah.
Single Barrel Snob.
Yeah,
he works there. So he's behind bar a lot of the times too. He was behind bar when Tom came into town.
Cool. Seems like a swell dude. Very nice.
Yeah. Tim's good people.
So I came back to the Blackened. I mentioned that, I think. Yeah. I'm really enjoying this pour. The nose is not terribly complex, but it's delicious.
Oh, Blake, what's up? Yeah, so I don't think we particularly chatted, but yeah, you all were hitting it hard with a lot of tasty stuff. Tom, that was probably the night that you were with me, man. Tom was probably actually there that night when Blake and his wife were there. And I think they sat just to the side of us. Because because it was really busy. It was really busy, and we almost didn't get a spot. And then we finally got a spot at the bar, and we scooted over a little bit, and this nice couple, I believe, stepped in, and we're tasting some stuff too.
Cool. It is kind of
Could
funny
be wrong.
sometimes, like how you run into people. Like when I went down to Kentucky last, and we were at Old Forester, there was a guy on the tour with us that watches the channel. And he's like, hey, I wonder if when we go, to Kentucky, he's telling his wife this, so we'll see this guy because he's going to be down there with his dad and his brother at the same time. And then we're on the same Old Forester tour together, which is cool. Like, to me, it's like, come on, man. Like, I just make YouTube videos. Like, it's nothing. But it's fun to, like, make friends and meet people that way. Like, that just is a bizarre phenomenon. So
You obviously know that before I started making my own videos, I just did this with you. But I remember taking one of my coworkers to Bardstown Bourbon Company for lunch. And there was somebody who walked out of the gift shoppy area of Bardstown Bourbon Company and then right past the table where I was sitting. Hold on, I'm gonna get up and try and recreate it. So I'm here. I'm sitting right here eating. And they come by the table and he goes, I've seen you on video. And like walked away. And I was like,
that was it.
Thanks, man. I was like, thanks, man. He's something like that. He said something like he said something like, I've seen you on the video. And I was like, all right on, man. Right on, man. Appreciate it. I'm gonna eat lunch now. Okay, goodbye.
So there was no
something
other correspondence. Who was
dude,
it?
it was super.
You're in the
It
live.
was super awkward. It was something like
That's amazing.
it might have been. Hopefully, it wasn't Blake, but no, it was somebody who was like,
I've seen you on video.
I was like, which one, on Entry Proof Live or on OnlyFans? Like, I mean, I need to know where you've seen me from.
I'm gonna assume it's the first. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's cool, but generally, I'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I assume you mean Blake said it wasn't him, but if you are watching this video or if you watch this video later on, and you saw Brian at Bardstown, and you're like, "I saw you on video," let us know if it was you. It's pretty.
Yeah,
funny.
if it was you, let me know. But dude, totally, like, that was great, man. It's like wow, that's like I almost felt famous. I mean, it's better than my old director of education being like, oh, this is Brian. He's Instagram famous. I'm like, you realize that no, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. Please stop ever introducing me, let alone saying that. Ricardo, how is this year's Old Forest birthday? I do want to hear what Blake had to say. Before I say anything, I want to know what Blake has to say. I'm putting you on the spot, Blake, with his wife. How is this year's birthday bourbon?
Speaking of which,
also, we did not talk about this last week. It has been confirmed that King of Kentucky is releasing again this year, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see it in Kentucky as soon as next week. So let's cross some fingers I can find one.
Another whiskey I won't get. Not that I mean, I have plenty of good whiskey, so that sounded douchey. But anyway, I just know that one does not really come to Wisconsin, so I know that I'm not going to get it, which is fine. I don't need it, but would I want it?
Everyone needs it. Everyone needs it.
Because it's your favorite. Your all-timer, right?
All time. It's so good. And last year was a little bit of a stinker to me. And then Ryan told me that they got a sample of it to try for Bourbon Pursuit. And he's like, dude, it's amazing this year. And I was like, just so I understand, like, you really liked 2019 and you were not that big a fan of 2020, right? He's like, that's true. And I'm like, okay, just so I know. Because they tried the Four Roses LE and like a whole bunch of stuff that night. And he's like, dude, the King is amazing this year. And I'm like, I need it. I need it.
Tom says Brian's non-whiskey IG has 43,000 followers. Yes, that is Insta famous. Yes, it is. Brian built his following on coffee. And yes, Brian was very well known in the specialty coffee industry and is for his Instagram handle and his podcast, which was I Brew My Own Coffee. And his podcast, I Brew My Own Coffee, is exactly why I was like, Brian, I need a partner on YouTube for these live streams. You're the man. He is the man. So,
but Drew hasn't let me do a single pour over on live stream. I'm so mad.
We should do a coffee episode. I'm not against it at all.
I'm kidding. So Ricardo, I will also chime in. The 2021 birthday bourbon, I think is tasty, and I personally think it's better than last year's. Last year's was not only low proof, but I just didn't particularly like the banana notes and like the tropicalness of it. Like part of it I liked, but I think the 2021 is a big step up. However, as someone who does love King of Kentucky, and this is not like a decision everyone gets a chance to make. It has this charred finish that is sort of like breaks up the pour. It's like if you were ever at a dance, a mixer, as we used to call them, a mixer or a dance, and then all of a sudden they turn the lights on, but you're still in the middle of a dance and all the ambiance is like broken. That's kind of like what the finish is like on the 2021 birthday bourbon. And it just comes in with this like super heavy charred thing. And it doesn't exactly sync with the rest of the flavors that you've been having.
That's what I feel about the Remus 5. Super heavy char finish. Yeah. Like great whiskey. Finish is like not great. Great.
And King of Kentucky has that, but it also has like such depth and oak and leather and all these like older type of characteristics that I think those take front and center. But in the birthday bourbon, it's kind of like you just notice a little bit more. And the other notes taste just more watered down.
All right, we're gonna wrap it there. It's 10 o'clock now. Squad, it was fun.
Tom got a chance to try a lot of stuff that night. He's even talking. He's reminiscing. Russell's 13 New Riff Malted Rye birthday bourbon. He got the run that night.
Tom or Blake? Because now I'm envious of Tom. I'm envious of you.
We tried a lot of stuff. We tried birthday, and then I think we split. I think we split a birthday pour.
Tom is salty, and then even for an atheist, salt of the earth. Big fan of that guy, and I want to hang out with him more. But we saw him one time, and it was a great time.
He wouldn't let me take him to White Castle, though. Well, he would have taken me because he picked me up. But
me to a White Castle.
Dude, come on, White Castle's the jam. If you like White Castle, leave me a note in the comments. Let me know if you guys like White Castle. If you like going to Whitey's, let me know.
Anyway, Tom, I do look forward to seeing you again at some point, sometime soon. But it was a good stream, squad. Next week is my birthday, not next week, the week after, technically. So the next live stream we do will be 1 year of the Drew P. Whiskey channel and my birthday. So we're going to make a big deal out of it. It's going to be dank. Brian's and my birthdays, we've learned, are not that far apart. I'm not sure what the agenda will be yet, but we will make it a good live stream. My parents are going to be in town Thursday, so I don't know that Thursday will be the day we live stream. It may be the following Monday. I'm not sure. Brian and I will connect. I'll publish with plenty of time for you guys to tune in, and it's going to be sick. Popsicle says White Castle is great, but Late Night Taco Bell is better. That's a tough sell. I don't know that I'm with you there. Crystals is better than White Castle, says
I've never had Crystals. I'd love to know.
I have never heard of Crystals. Regardless, you guys, again, thanks for tuning in. All the links on how you can follow us or support what Brian and I are doing are down below. If you want some barrel picks, we got them headed your way. We don't know when they're going to land yet, but we got an 8-year-old MGP pick from Dancing Goat. We've got a really, really killer 4-grain from Middle West Spirits that also we don't know when's going to hit, but probably this fall. Seems like any time, at any point, but not yet. If you guys want access to that, Patreon's the way to do that. Also, you get some dope swag. I got to go pick up the T-shirts for those who are supporting at the tier high enough to get some T-shirts. They're done. I just got to go get them, so I'll get some out this weekend. Post a picture on my Instagram. Anyway, hit the links below. Be rad. Y'all have a good night. You know what the deal is. Stay healthy, stay safe. Remember to keep it neat.
Cheers, everybody.